At the beginning of building our businesses, the goal is clients, 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 right? I'm sure that if you're a new virtual assistant, you are dreaming of the day that you have a full schedule full of aligned dream clients. And that day is coming sooner than you think. Before you know it, you'll have more work than you know what to do with. That's why I believe that it's vital to start implementing systems and strategies right away for having a balanced life so that your business never feels overwhelming or just not fun. And my guest on the podcast today is an expert in finding that balance. Jenna Daykin from In the Details Darling is joining me today to share her tips on setting up boundaries and solutions to maintain freedom and joy in her business, including how she's prepared in advance to take time off for her upcoming European vacation. You are going to love her.
You're listening to the Support Squad podcast, where virtual assistants come together to share their best business tools and tips. Virtual assistant for life coaches Sharon Nissen created the Support Squad with a firm belief in community over competition. Whether you're a new virtual assistant looking for advice on how to get started, or an established virtual assistant looking to expand your skills and invite even more abundance into your career, you're in the right place. Working from home doesn't have to be lonely. We're in this together. Now, here she is, the host of the Support Squad podcast, Sharon Nissen.
Hey, did you miss me? I don't know if you noticed, but I took a 3-week break from the podcast. I've been busy planning content for the fall and winter, and let me tell you, we've got some great stuff coming up. Now, to jump back into the podcast this week, I'm thrilled to introduce you to Jenna Daykin, our guest today and the featured guest expert in the Support Squad membership community for October. Jenna is a systems strategist and brand manager who helps travel professionals and specialized creatives gain back freedom in their businesses through systems implementation and task management. She believes wherever you are, you should be all there. Life, business, and everything in between. You can find her working through her to-do list at a cozy coffee shop, getting lost in the streets of a quaint city, or spending a quiet night in with her husband and 2 sweet pups. I'm so excited for you to meet her, so let's get started. Hey, Jenna, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Yes. So I was when I first came across you on Instagram, I was so drawn to your brand and everything that you talk about because you really, I think, promote building businesses that feel good, that have a sense of ease and balance. And that's something that is so important to me. I really believe that our businesses should feel good. And so I'm so excited to have your voice with us today to talk a little bit about that and how you manage balance. But to get started, I would love for everyone to just have a chance to get to know you and what you do. So can you tell us a little bit about your entrepreneurial journey and sort of about In the Details, Darling, how all of that came about?
Absolutely. So one, thank you it's always nice hearing that comes across that way, because that definitely, like, the calmness and the comforting and the serene feel is what I'm trying to give off, and especially the balance. So it's always nice to hear that. But I've actually had kind of a crazy background. I feel like some people have that as well, where I dabbled in a few things prior to actually leading to what I wanted to do. Yet all those tasks or all those jobs led to what I'm doing today, and they all had a common factor into what I love. So I went to I went to an all business college. I played college basketball. And so I went for advertising and marketing. And so I came out of school, like, I have no idea what I wanted to do, but knowing I had a passion for baking. So I went to culinary school.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah.
There's already so many choices.
Yes. So I went to culinary school for a year, and I loved it. And I was a sous chef for a master pastry chef, and it was just a great experience. But what I learned I loved through that was like the actual setup in the background, and the actual, like, designing of menus, and getting all the ingredients together and things like that. I liked, like, the mise en place in a sense, which is making sure everything has the right place.
Mm-hmm.
So from there, I was like, I don't want to do this. I didn't want to stay in it forever. And so I moved on and I actually became a college basketball coach. So I was an assistant coach where I played, and it was phenomenal, fantastic experience. But again, same details. I loved the back end, but also the building up of the players. So that all translates into every day now too. And then from there, I moved cities. So I took a job as a social media coordinator, which gave me a great, just an overall feel for social media in general. And then knew I didn't want to do that. And then left that to become an operations manager for a tour operator, where I stayed for 3 years and led me directly into what I'm doing today. So I realized in what I was doing, I was kind of not able to grow any further with the company I was in, but I knew I could impact small businesses by implementing systems and taking tasks off their plate, specifically specialized creatives and travel professionals. So I was in the travel industry, and there's no one who focuses on the back end of travel. People like the glamorous, like, let me book travel and let me send you on beautiful vacations. But there's not many people that are on the back end like me that are like, well, let me do all the fine, gritty details, because I think that's what makes a trip even more beautiful. So from there, in the details, darling was born. And I actually, even before my business was born, I was booked out just from simply reaching out to my clients because I was filling an absolute need that was not there. There was an absolute void in that part of the industry. And so today I am thankful to be not only serving those same clients that booked me out from the start, but I'm also implementing different systems and processes and procedures into other businesses, as well as mentoring aspiring virtual assistants. And that's where the coaching comes in. So it's fun to be on the back end. I am not I don't want to be in the forefront of anything. So this is as much as in the forefront I think I would want to be. So it's fun to watch that all work together, but definitely an array of an experience.
Wow, that is so cool. What a journey. And your story, you know, it started with so many twists and turns, but it ends or your virtual assistant journey kind of starts in a way that I think a lot of people's do, where they find a niche and a need, and then before you know it, you have more work than you could ask for. So do you feel that having that niche right from really helped you be successful quickly?
Absolutely. And I think though there's a few things that I was trying not to limit myself. I felt like at times I was like, oh, but there's this person, this would be an amazing business to work in. Oh, I love what they do. But of course, as we all come to realize, our time is so limited. So spreading ourselves in a million different directions, I wasn't being the most efficient as I could be. So then it just led me back to my roots. It's starting with the travel pros, and I do work with some like highly specialized creatives like copywriters and branding photographers. So similar type of like workflows and things we're working on. But it is nice to have kind of my mind is on one thing, and it's really a lot of times the travel industry. And so it helps me just be able to really grow educational experiences, things like that, to bring into other people's businesses.
That's so awesome. So I was looking through your blog and stuff, and like just to learn a little more about you. And I saw that you actually have some travel coming up yourself. You have a European vacation planned.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering, what do you do to prepare for a trip like that? Like, as a business owner, I know it can be so difficult to step away from our businesses and take time for ourselves in that way, especially to travel. So have you put any systems in place or done any preparation for that trip, or like, what does that look like for you?
Absolutely. That is a huge part of my preparation right now. Actually, like, I prep really probably a month and a half in advance. I always communicate to my clients, especially the recurring ones, because they're the ones that are sending me tasks on a daily basis. So I communicate as soon as I have a date that I'm going to be out of office. I communicate that right up front. I actually do a monthly newsletter to my clients that's just like a little like hello, like it's a less of me being like, this task is done, oh, here's an invoice from me, oh, I need this from you. It's more like, hey, this is what's going on in my world, here's a small joy of mine, which is anything from a quote to a recipe, housekeeping, featured blog posts, but my housekeeping is all my out of office dates. So I plant the seed right then and there. And then right now, currently, I always work ahead. So, and I work ahead normally. However, it comes even more relevant when I am preparing for travel. So that's anything from making sure my clients, I remind them on a weekly basis, I'm going to be out. The week leading up, I share that, again, reminder, I'm going to be out, and what I currently have on my task list for the following week is all I can take. So I can make sure I can accomplish that. And then on top of that, I also typically complete a week's worth of work from when I return. So when I come back, it's not a complete rude awakening. There's going to be things that come up while I'm gone. However, I make sure to prepare that prior to. There's also things around my house that I do. So business is one thing, and making sure like that communication level is there. My tasks are complete. I have an autoresponder up. Typically 1 to 2 days prior to departing. So again, setting expectations for clients or anyone coming to me. But I also make sure that my workflows are up to date with an autoresponder, so that any new inquiries come in, they know that they won't be hearing from me until X date. But then my home life as well, I make sure that my house is cleaned. I am like someone that is, I don't know why, but I do all the things before leaving. Like I don't flip mattresses weekly, but for some reason I feel like I need to make sure all the mattresses are flipped because I'll feel so much better when I get home. But my laundry's done. I actually have a meal delivery service that is set to deliver on the day of my return. So that grocery shopping is done and easy. And then I actually make sure all my laundry is done while on vacation too. So that's a little crazy. I'm a little like OCD maybe when it comes to that, but it makes for a very simple return and seamless process when jumping back into work.
Yeah, no, I totally relate to that and love that. Like I clean my out of town before I go on vacation. Like that is the cleanest my house will ever be. Like there's something so nice about walking into your home and like having everything in its right place, having everything easy and feeling at peace when you come home, especially because the transition out of vacation can be kind of sad anyway. So
yeah,
not have to
absolutely.
walk into a stressful environment like helps that transition a little bit. So I totally get that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. There's typically, I extend my vacation by 1 day. I don't tell my clients that, or I tell my clients I return to work the day after I'm actually coming back, so that if a flight gets delayed or if I just need some grace for myself easing in, or that's a way for them to not expect to hear from me, and I can exceed a little expectations by popping in early and getting tasks done for them. So that's another little tip that I have that I like to do that's been really beneficial for me.
I love that. And the other thing I want to make sure everyone heard that you mentioned was the part about your monthly newsletter to your clients. I think that is such an amazing idea. We talk a lot in the support squad about the client experience and how to kind of make yourself stand apart as a virtual assistant, how to really like connect with your clients, get them to know you a little more and build that connection. I think that's such a wonderful way to do that because they get just like a quick snapshot of like your values, the things that are important to you. And then of course the housekeeping stuff. I love that idea. So take notes, you guys. That was a really good, idea that she just shared. Cool. So yeah. And I know one thing that is so important to you and one thing you're going to be sharing with our members this month is just talking about balance as a business owner, how we can have that in our own businesses, how we can bring that into serving our clients. So can you just let us know a little bit about what role balance has in your life, why you think it's important for entrepreneurs, and maybe just a couple little tips that we could try to feel that in our lives and businesses?
Absolutely. So we started businesses for a reason, and it was for freedom. And a lot of times I know I was working way more. I loved it. Like work, I hate using the word work because it really didn't feel like that. Like it's a passion of mine. It's so great, but I was working way more than I wasn't. And the freedom of, I wouldn't do things because I had work to get done. But then where did that freedom go? It was completely out the window. And I finally, my husband is my biggest supporter and like super, he's who I go to. He's my go-to in my business. And he came to me one day and he was like, Jenna, you don't look up from your computer. You're not taking care of yourself. Anything you've implemented in the past to make sure that you are your best self, has gone out the window because you're too busy serving others. And that was just like, I knew it in my head, but I also needed someone to tell me that. So right then and there, things had to change. And so the balance has brought me back into being more present, which is a core value of mine, is just to be present wherever you are, whenever you are there. So that's helped me with that. It's also helped me come back to why I'm doing what I'm doing. And I'm aspiring to bring balance into other people's businesses. So that means that I should have that in my own. Yes. I should make sure I'm practicing what I preach. Yes. So that's been a big element too. And thirdly, is I am not my best self, and I am not thinking at my best if I am going through motions or completely overwhelmed going from one task to the next. So balance has not only helped me be the best version, but it's helped me serve my clients better as well. So there's a couple ways that I have made sure to do this. And one thing is setting boundaries. And that goes from what we just talked about, from making sure that newsletter gets out there, to having and following and setting my office hours. And those are in my email signature. It's also, my clients are pretty amazing and they are very respectful of me. So it's making sure I'm sticking to that. Because if I'm the one emailing at 9 p.m., they're going to respond if they're online. Like, why not? But it's me that needs to make sure that, hey, if I'm working at 9 p.m. just because I'm preparing to go on an awesome vacation, I should schedule out that email, because then they don't realize I'm working at 9 p.m. and that boundary has stayed that way. So that's a huge thing. And then within those boundaries is just clear-cut communication. I set expectations from the start. So they know my office hours. They know that they assign tasks a certain way to me. I'm going in and actually bringing systems directly into their business so that it's set up how I can be most beneficial to them and how they can utilize me to their fullest. But it's also, they know how to reach me. So it's via email. Like I'm not going to pick up the phone in the middle of the day because and I'll get into this, I block schedule. So to fully maximize the time and make sure my efforts are exactly where they need to be, my phone's on do not disturb. So little things like that go a very long way. And then canned emails and workflows have been a saving grace for me. Customization and personal touches and all of that are very special and important to me. The client experience is my absolute favorite topic to talk on. And this is where this really comes in. I think that just certain things I've implemented from the start. Again, with expectations, I make sure I send a web page that has all my pricing expectations when someone contacts me. On that page is also my when I can start, because currently for some services, I'm booked until 2020. So I don't want them thinking once we get on a call that I'm going to start next week. So simply anticipating needs there and making sure that they feel very in the know. And so I'm sharing that along the way. I'm also building their trust. And that's a big part of the clear communication. And then workflows helps me make sure that the client experience remains consistent, because a lot of people come to me on referrals. So if someone refers me, they expect that that person is going to feel and get the same amount of love and care and value out of me that they did as well. So I make sure that's in there as well. And then block scheduling. This has been a huge game changer for my business. I've tried a few different ways of scheduling, and I don't technically have like designated days. I try to do like, oh, this is my content writing day. Oh, this is my client work day. But my client work is constant. So I have to make sure I'm staying on top of that. And so I do that by, I work in my business Monday through Thursday and on my business on Fridays. I do actually work on Sundays too right now. It's my favorite day to work. My husband has some things he has to get done on Sundays too, and no one responds to my emails. So I get so much done. It's so nice. But I block schedule in 30-minute increments because I make sure I dedicate a certain amount of time, because I find like Parkinson's law, that time expands to how a task expands to the amount of time you give, essentially.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
And
yes.
Vice versa.
Oh, I love that.
So I make sure to do that. Yeah.
Yes.
It's so important, because I can sit here all day and work on one document and then I'm like, where did my day go? But if I actually set a timer and I'm ultra focused on something, it goes a long way. So that and staying out of my inbox has been a game changer. I check my inbox twice a day, morning and right before I close out for the day, as well as that closing out period is when I set my schedule for the following day, so I can hit the ground running up on the next day. And so that's been huge. And along with the office hours, one little note is I do not have email on my phone. That's been really, really nice. I'm not distracted by something coming in when if I see an email come in, I'm already working through the steps in my head. And so I felt when I was not being fully present and not being true to one of my core values. So those are huge. Those have been huge and a game changer for me in my business.
Yeah. So many of the things that you mentioned are things that I have implemented over time as well. And that I wish I had started a long time ago. Like removing email from my phone was huge. Like there's no reason for that. Like there's no, like it's so distracting. It takes you out of the game. And then also time blocking is something that I talk about a lot. I think that's so key. And the thing you said about a task, like taking the amount of time that you've allotted for it is so important. That's so important for productivity, time blocking in that way. It keeps me moving through the day so you don't get like hung up on one thing. So those are such good tips. Yeah. And the other thing that I wanted to kind of comment on is how you mentioned that your husband noticed that you weren't taking that time for yourself and not doing those things, doing the things that you used to do to keep yourself balanced. And so I would love to like encourage listeners to either ask your husband to kind of keep you in check with that, or, find like a self-care balance accountability buddy that you can check in with to make sure that you're staying on top of that. Because one thing about being an entrepreneur is like the only person that's really looking out for us a lot of times is us, unless we have like an amazing supportive husband like that, or unless we ask for accountability in that way. So I love that he pointed that out to you. I think that's such a great thing for a partner to do. And there's that's a great way that we can ask for support. It's like, can you help me help myself? Ask someone to hold you accountable for that. I really love that. So thank you for sharing that. That was so much good tips. And I really think that it's such an important messaging, because we hear so much about, hustle, grind, these things. And that just leads to burnout. And yeah, like I said, I really believe that our businesses should feel good. And like you said, we started it for the freedom. So we need to feel that. So thank you.
I firmly believe the trend of being busy is not cool, in my opinion. Like it's great to have a full schedule, and it's so great you have a full schedule of clients, but whenever I talk to someone, if I talk to people who are feeling very overwhelmed, I'm like, hey, how are you doing? They're like, I am so busy. And I'm like, that's like the initial reaction, but it's just not all that great. You can have a full schedule, but still be able to talk about things outside of like what that full schedule looks like. And mind you, like I'm giving these tips and these are what have changed my life and business. I'm not always great at them. There's some days that I find I look up and I haven't, like, I'm still in my same like pajamas that I had to jump on and do a quick email in the morning, and it's 4:00 and I'm like, my office hours are supposed to be over at this point. So there's days like that too. It's just being intentional through the process, checking yourself when those days happen, just getting back on track too.
So yesterday in my Instagram stories, I posted my to-do list at the beginning of the day of like all the things I needed to do. And it was a lot of stuff because I had a really full day. So I was getting a lot of messages from followers like, wow, that's like so much. And I never want to come across like I'm just like, I'm so busy. I would love to shift the conversation more from like, I'm so busy to like, look at the strategies I have in place to get this stuff done and then still have a life too. Because one thing that's really important to me, because I'm a mom and I have little kids. And one thing that's really important to me is that when they come home, I'm not on my computer. So yes, my days are full, but it's putting those strategies in place to make sure that you can be present in those moments when work is done. And so yes, thank you so much for making that a priority too. I think that in general, we need to the entrepreneurs need to take responsibility for the messages they're putting out there, because we don't want people to get burned out. We want people to feel good and have time with their families, because that's what it's all, their families and their loved ones, and have time to travel, whatever it is that inspired you to start that business in the first place. So I'm excited to hear what you have, the strategies that you have to share with us in your training for the support squad members. It's going to be awesome. And then I would also love for you to let us know kind of what's going on in your business right now, or how we can get in touch with you online, or let us know how to get in touch with you and what you have going on right now.
Yeah, awesome. I am actually going through a rebrand. It's been a good bit of a process, which has been really exciting and soul searching. So that should launch in the next few weeks. My website final touches are being done now. But I'm just always here as a friend, genuinely want to connect with people and make sure I'm being as supportive as I can, from seasoned virtual assistants to new virtual assistants, or anyone in the creative industry in general. I'm here for them. So the best way to reach me is either on Instagram, and that's at @inthedetailsdarling, or email me at jenna@inthedetailsdarling.com.
Yay, cool. Well, thank you so much. You guys definitely follow her on Instagram. She has, like I said, she has the prettiest feed. As soon as you look at it, you just feel it makes work, like you said, not feel like work, peaceful and easy. And that's how we should all feel in our businesses. So I appreciate that branding and that message that you're putting out there. And I'm so excited to share you with support squad members. So thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited for the training.
Yay! All right, cool. Well, I'll talk to you later. Have an awesome day.
Thanks, you too.
I don't know about you, but I feel more peaceful and balanced already. And the amazing news is that Jenna is offering even more tips and strategies for creating balance in your life and business exclusively to support squad members this month. Her training is hitting the membership area on October 1st. So go ahead, hop on over to thesupportsquad.com to sign up for a free 14-day trial to get access to her training and all of the other amazing guest expert trainings. And make sure to join my free Facebook group, the Support Squad Hangout, to chat about this week's episode. I'll see you in there. Until next time, Boss Babe.